Okay, so the Arcade Arena Season 2 is out, and this time around it is going to be a 7v7 with some new cookies as well as a new season arcade rule, which is going to be for mainly focusing on Alphaba Cookie as well as Glenda, giving them extra debuffs as well as stats and buffs for these particular cookies. So let's go over the teams that are going to be used right now, mainly within the top ranks, so that you guys are able to use them to climb all the way up to hopefully Grandmaster 3. A lot of the players who watched my other video from season 1 were able to get to Grandmaster 3 at least. For the ranking reward of crystals this time around. Last time was Radiant Biscuit though, so hopefully you guys can do that as well for this season. So let's go over the first team. This was the one that I mainly used for me to climb inside of the arcade arena for this season. Of course, we still have a couple of days left, so things can change, but this one is going to be the main one. So no super epics are going to be used. Things to keep in mind is that all the minimum biscuit level as well as, you know, your treasure level and cookie level and skill level are all going to be maxed out except for your promotion and stuff like that. So let's go over the team and the treasure. So it's going to be Green Tea Moose as well as Jogge and Financier, Manju, Snapdragon, Alphaba, as well as Glenda. So you guys can see my Wicked cookies are not super high promotion or anything like that. They're still good. Their stat and debuffs are actually really good this time around. So even if they're low, probably a good idea to use them. Treasures are going to be Scroll, Feather, Vial, as well as Watch with the Paper Charm. It's going to be very similar, except the charm will be switched out to something like the Monocle in a couple of the comps. So let's go over this real quick. Green Tea Moose is going to be at level 10 Magic Candy. I'll talk about it, but let's go over it. So focusing on Financier. Financier is going to have the 3-second start, and then focusing on extra damage resist as well as HP. I'm going to go over it real quick, but you guys can see my biscuit is not really good. All cooldown, but very low stat. You guys can probably get this with like 2 cooldown stats or even like maybe 3. So you guys can see it, there's room for improvements. All right, and the next one is going to be Jogge. Jogge 2 is going to have a 1-second start this time around, focusing on cooldown and then damage resist as well as HP, and some debuff resist does slightly help as well in case, you know, Jogge does get stunned and things like that. I would say my biscuit is really bad. Focusing more on damage resist, HP, and, you know, defensive stats are going to be definitely helpful with Jogge's survivability. Her skill allows Manju to spam the skill, so her surviving is really good. And the next one is going to be Green Tea Moose with the Magic Candy again, Financier Magic Candy. We do have a HP damage resist focus, and then damage resist, debuff resist right over here for the biscuit as well. Focusing on a little bit of extra cooldown so that you guys are able to use Green Tea Moose's skill to protect your team as well. Next one is going to be Manju. Manju is literally the same. More damage resist does help. I did it with 17%, so you know you can see that it does work out. 5-star Ascension though, just keep that in mind. Damage resist bypass, and then focusing on a little bit of that extra attack crit attack speed does help out with Manju's damage output as well. Next one's going to be Glenda. Same thing from last time, except the biscuit changed a little bit. More damage resist focus, so that Glenda does survive a little bit more. You know, because of the fact that the cookies right now that you guys have, like Manju, Jogge, you know, they do damage. It's better for Glenda to be focusing on that healing percentage. And then you only need about 5% cooldown for Glenda and Alphaba as well. Alphaba, same thing from last season as well, focusing on the, you know, damage output this time around. Damage is bypass for Alphaba still, so that you are able to do damage. Again, 5% cooldown, focusing on damage resist as well as attack and crit if you guys can. Last one, Snapdragon, 4-second start, and then we are going to be focusing on the attack, crit, attack speed, as well as a bit of cooldown, so that you guys are able to allow Snapdragon to constantly heal your team. Alright, so this is literally what I've used in majority of the cases. So let me show you guys a battle of this team as well. Alright, so you guys are able to see right over here. This one is going to be against Camellia. You guys can see that Alphaba and Glenda are giant. And the thing that happens with Alphaba's skill this time around in this particular season is that Alphaba's spell is going to make all the other cookies pretty much like tiny. So if you guys remember those seasonal like treasures that we have had, where like, I believe it was Acorn, it makes the cookies super tiny, and then the voice like chibi, kind of like chipmunky. That's pretty much what's happening here for this particular season with Alphaba's skill. Again, damage output from Alphaba is actually not bad at all. It's actually pretty good and decent, especially with a 2-star promotion. But you guys can see this is kind of like the team. Again, Manju and Jage are back, and protection from the two of the, I would say, pretty darn decent, one of the best epic defense cookies are back as well. So you guys can see Financier just doing so much damage, and Manju again without a doubt, and Alphaba actually pretty good too right there. All right, so this one did even more because was the only one surviving as well, right? So there you guys go. All right, guys, so next team is going to be the team that you guys actually literally just saw, and that is going to be the Camellia this time around instead of that green tea moose. And instead of that, paper charm, we're actually going with the monocle in order to cleanse some of the debuffs, as well as provide some extra buffs to the team as well. Every single topping is gonna be the same except for obviously Camellia. There's a lot of different builds for Camellia going around right now, but for me, I am using an HP and almond damage resist topping right over here, as well as biscuit damage resist and cooldown, so that Camellia is able to survive and still provide those debuffs as well as those stuns, weakness debuff and things like that. Next one is gonna be, actually, you guys can see there's gonna be a theme going around, but you guys can see this one is, instead of Financier, it's gonna be green tea moose. Every single topping is gonna be the same again as before. It's just that green tea moose has changed instead of Financier. Alright guys, so this one's almost like a mirror comp, except we're using green tea moose instead of the Financier for their comp. So sadly, their Manju actually did survive right there, right, which is kind of a problem. So hopefully we do survive here. I think their Manju is gone now. So Camellia and our, green tea moose kept it alive for a while. Sadly, our Alphaba did die, which kind of is a problem, but it's gonna actually end up in a tie. So kind of, you guys can see that the Financier and green tea moose is actually gonna be very, on par with each other. Camellia actually doing a lot of damage. Manju obviously did a lot of damage right there. But you guys can see Financier is, honestly, I would say if anything, Financier is a little bit stronger, especially for me at least, because Magic Candy is a little bit higher in the level as well. Actually a lot higher, because green tea is only 10 and Financier is at 30 for me. So that is the case, but you guys can see Alphaba both sides doing 20 million plus. So pretty darn good. All right, and then another one that you guys can try out is going to be burnt cheese here, and burnt cheese is going to be using a little bit like a cooldown damage resist focus. So this is another comp that you guys can go for if you guys would like to, instead of green tea moose or Camellia or like Financier. Those are like the three that you guys interchange with. But the last one is going to be the one without any of the wicked cookies, because you guys can see all four of them are going to have it. But it is going to be that Arcade Arena sisters coming back here with the Choco Drizzle carry with Manju, and then the Rebel with the elemental damage debuff or weakness that he does provide. And then it is going to be the same treasures as the first team, but super offensive. So Rebel is going to use full attack. I do have some cooldown here as well. I would say if you guys can get a faster cooldown for Rebel, it's not a bad idea, but I do have Jage to start out the entire battle. Rebel does come in place when Choco Drizzle does use skill. Alright, and then rest of them is going to be the same. Choco Drizzle, full on damage, attack, damage resist, as well as a little bit of cooldown. And then we got the attack and crit. I have putting Ella mode at full damage resist for this particular one with attack speed. This is from like the guild and stuff like that. And then everything else is pretty much the same. Alright, this team, honestly, super strong. I use it a little bit here as well. So you guys can see the battle with this particular team. Alright guys, so this is going to be our older comp, right, with the Rebel as well as Choco Drizzle coming out with doing a bunch of damage. Manju did use the skill in the beginning, so not a problem. But I would say this one is probably the best one to go for if you guys do not have any of the wicked cookies, or you guys just don't want to use the wicked cookies, this one is probably the best one here, and that is going to be with Rebel right there, and then Choco Drizzle and Manju that just do so much damage that these guys can't survive and continue the battle. So I would say this one pretty darn good. Anyways guys, that's gonna be all of the comps that I have kind of tested out and used. Honestly, these three are going to be like, if you guys need to. I don't really use these three too much. I'm gonna use really these two mainly. This one, the main stuff, and then right here, this one honestly is just so strong. So if you guys do have all these older cookies maxed out, probably a good idea to go with them. If you guys would like to use Alpha and Glinda, this one's pretty strong as well, very standard. But that is it for this video. Hopefully you guys found the video helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.